Welcome back. In this video, we're going to set up jumping for our 2D visual scripting platform. Let's get right into it. For this one, I'm going to go back to the player movement script that we had recently built, and I am going to add on to it to add jumping. So the way I want to do this is I want to add another sticky note here, and this is going to be my jumping area. And then I've got all of this kind of working horizontally right here. I'm going to start another one right over here. So in order to do jumping, what we're going to do is we're going to add force to the rigid body. So let's go ahead and go to the object over here. I have to tell it how much force to add onto here. So let's create a new variable called jump force. And that is also going to be a float. And let's call that, I don't know, 8. We can adjust that later. Okay, so what we need to do here is see if we are pressing a key. So we're still going to be doing this in onUpdate because anytime I want to check for key presses, I do want to check for a key press every single frame to see if I've pressed the key. So let's go ahead and add a node that's input get key down. Okay, now I just want to point out we've got get key and then we've got get key down. Get key is going to return a true Boolean every single frame that the key is pressed, where get key down is going to only give you true on the frame that you first pressed the key. So for regular button presses, we usually want to do get key down, and we'll do it by a key here. For this one, we can choose what key we want to use. I'm just going to use space. Seems to be pretty standard. Okay, so I'm going to connect these here, and I do have this little awkward connection here. I'm okay with that. But here's our jumping. We're going to check to see if I press the key, and that's giving us the Boolean true or false. Did I press that key? So let's go ahead and give ourselves an if, connecting that there. If I did press the key, then I want to do something. What we want to do is we want to go to the rigid body 2D. Make sure you use rigid body 2D because if you accidentally use the 3D rigid body, you're going to get errors. Add force. We want the one with the force and the mode for this one. So rigid body 2D, add force, force and mode. Okay. We're adding force to this rigid body 2D. This vector right here is asking what direction we want to be adding force in. So let's go down here and we'll add a note. Vector 2 up. Okay, that's going to be the vector 0, 1, but up is just a quick way of thinking about that. And just like we did with the movement, we're going to multiply it. And we want to multiply it times jump force. Okay, so we've got all of that there, and then we're going to attach that to the force, like that. And now it's asking what kind of force we want to add. We want to add impulse force. That's the sudden burst of force that we could use for jumping. Okay, that should let us jump. Let's try it out. Okay, I'm falling, still moving left and right, and let's go ahead and press the spacebar. There we go, I've got to jump. Now we do run into a problem here because anytime I press the spacebar, it's going to jump even if I'm in mid-air. So I can just jump infinitely. And, you know, if you're making a Flappy Bird type game, this might be good. But in general, I think most people don't want that effect. So let's make it so I can't double jump. Let's get back into our graph. And let's add another object variable. We're going to add a variable called isOnGround. That is going to be a Boolean variable. Remember, Booleans are true or false, and at the moment, let's say it is true. So I should only be allowed to jump if I'm on the ground. So the way we're going to do this now is we're going to say if I press the space key, and let's go ahead and put an and in here because two things have to be true. Okay, actually make some space for myself here. I'm gonna move this. So if this is true, and we'll just connect that there. And then the other thing that has to be true is that isOnGround has to be true. Okay, so if both of those things are true, then do the jump. This should let us jump only if both of those things are true, but then what we need to do is immediately tell it that once I jump, I am no longer on the ground. So let's go ahead and do isOnGround, except we're going to set it. We are going to set isOnGround to the Boolean false. So let's go and grab a Boolean. It's a Boolean literal. I'm sorry, I'll delete that and do it again. Boolean literal, right there. And I want to set it to, I could make it true if I check it or false if I uncheck it. So as soon as I jump, we're going to add force and then immediately say I am no longer on the ground anymore. Okay, so now that the isOnGround is all set up, this should make it so I can only jump one time. Okay, I'm falling left and right, and then I'm jumping. Okay, and now I'm pushing spacebar again. I can't jump anymore. Let me try that again. This time I'm just going to push spacebar as fast as I can. And you see that I can't double jump. The problem is now I can only jump once in this game. I need a way of telling the game that I have actually landed back on the ground. So let's get back into our graph. I should be back on the ground when I hit the ground. So in order to do that, we're going to use a method called onCollisionEnter. That is going to be over here on CollisionEnter, and we're going to use the 2D version of it. Let's go ahead and put a sticky note here that this is to reset isOnGround. Okay. So when I hit the ground, the first thing that I want to do is check to see is the thing that I hit actually the ground. So we're going to put an if. I'm going to move this over here because I know I'm going to do some stuff. This node right here, this little dot, this collider is the collider of the thing that I hit. So what I want to do is look at the thing that I hit, and I want to see, is that object tagged with the ground tag? So what we'll do here is we have to go from the collider to the game object, and then the game object has the ability to check a tag. So we're going to go to the collider 2D. We're going to get the game object. Collider 2D, get game object. Okay, so now we have the game object of the collider that we just hit, and now we're going to do game object compare tag. Okay. So, right here it's saying what should we compare the tag of. It defaults to this, and in this case this would be the player, because whenever we see this, it's whatever the graph script is applied to. I don't want it applied to this. I want it applied to the game object from that collider, and I want to see, is it ground? Be very careful right here. I know that I tagged it with capital G ground, and I'm going to put that there. And I forgot that this has to be activated, so we're going to go from here to here to here. That's our loop right there, or little flow. So we're going to check to see if that object is tagged with ground, and if it is, then is on ground should be true. Is on ground. We are going to set is on ground. And just like we did earlier, let's go get the Boolean literal. And it is now true. And that should now give us the ability to jump around. Okay, I can jump. And now I hit the ground, I'm going to jump again. Jumping is working. Let's spam it just to make sure double jumping isn't working. Double jumping is not working, but you can see as soon as I hit the ground, I'm able to jump again. Let's go ahead and I can push Control D to duplicate stuff. Right now this is on the scale tool. I can push W to switch it to the move tool. Push Control D again, and I've got a couple copies of this platform. And now I can jump around from platform to platform. And I've got a nice working little platformer game.